Uncle, please don't do this to me. Uncle, stop, please. You're supposed to be my teacher, not doing this to me. Why would you do this to me, Uncle? If you continue, I will tell my mommy. Keep quiet. Even if you tell your mommy, she will not believe you. Nobody will believe you. So you better keep quiet. This is my story. My name is Lovett, a secondary school girl in one of the most popular schools in Lagos State. I'm just a 16 years old girl, and like every other young student, I have dreams and passions. I've always wanted to become a lawyer when I grow up. I chose that path because I could not stand the pain and injustice many women face in our society. I dreamed of becoming a voice for women to ensure fair treatment between both genders. I grew up in a home where my father often mistreated my mother, so I vowed never to end up with a man who would act like him. But little did I know that life had a different plan for me. At 16, I was already in secondary school. My father is a pastor and my mother is a tailor. They met in their 20s, fell in love and got married, but I don't think what they share is love. Sometimes I wonder how they even got this far, especially my father. He has never been gentle or kind. Honestly, I don't like talking about him because he disgusts me deeply. I often wonder how my mother copes with him. Heaven knows that if I were in her shoes, God forgive me, I might have done something out of anger. People these days no longer fear God. They do terrible things behind closed doors and then appear righteous in public. I don't even listen to my father's preaching anymore, even though I still attend his church because I have no choice. While he preaches, I just stare at him because I already know who he truly is. They say, don't judge a book by its cover, and it's true. When you hear my dad preach, you might think he's the holiest man alive, but that's far from reality. I'm not saying these things because I hate him. I developed these feelings because of who he truly is and how he treats me and my mother. My parents enrolled me in a mixed secondary school in Lagos, both boys and girls, but they never cared about my education or well-being. They showed no interest in my life, my grades, or my safety. They didn't care if I came home late or if I did not do my assignments. My father cared only about his church and the money he could get from it. That is his only source of income, not from honest work, but from taking advantage of people's faith. It's painful to say, but not everyone who calls the name of the Lord is truly righteous. In that school, there was a teacher named Uncle Dan. That's not his real name, but I will call him that for the sake of this story. He was our science teacher, a dark-skinned man who lived close to the school. He usually wore plain shirts and sandals. He didn't talk much, but secretly he had a habit of getting too close to female students. Because his house was near the school, it was easier for him to lure students there. He had a calm, innocent look, which made people trust him easily. In school, he appeared quiet, well-behaved, but deep down, he was like a slow poison. I began to notice how he treated me differently from other students. At first, I thought he was just being kind because I was one of the best students in his class. I never suspected he had another motive. One day, after I brought my assignment to him in the staff room, he said he didn't have enough time to explain it to me there. He asked if I could come to his house after school so he could teach me better in a relaxed environment. Innocently, I agreed. I only wanted to understand the topic. I never imagined anything bad could happen. That day, I was supposed to go home with my best friend, Faith. We had been close since JS2. When she was new to the school, I showed her around, introduced her to people, and we became inseparable. But that afternoon, I was told Faith went home early because she had a stomach ache. She wanted to tell me but couldn't wait. so I had no one to go with. But since I had nothing bad in mind, I went alone. When I got to Uncle Dan's house, I knocked on the door. The place was quiet. After the third knock, I heard his voice and then he opened the door. To my surprise, he looked quite different from how he appeared in school. Well dressed, tidy and strangely charming. His room was neatly arranged as if he had prepared for a visitor. I didn't think much of it and sat quietly on the sofa while he said he needed to freshen up. While waiting, I flipped through my books to revise a bit. A few minutes later, he returned and sat beside me. He asked me to show him where I was finding the assignment difficult. But as we continued, I noticed he kept moving closer. At first, I thought it was nothing, but he suddenly placed his hand lightly around my shoulder, pretending to be guiding me through the notes. It made me uncomfortable. I politely asked him to give me a little space, trying not to sound rude. I wanted to believe I was overthinking it. After about 30 minutes, he got up and said he wanted to get something to help us relax while studying. He brought out a bottle of drink and poured it into 2 glasses. He told me it will help my brain relax and make it easier to learn. At first, I hesitated, but he insisted, so I took a sip. He kept encouraging me to take more, saying it would help me relax. I didn't take too much of it, so I drank a little more. But not long after, I started to feel dizzy and strange. My eyes began to feel heavy and everything around me became blurry. It was my first time ever feeling that way, so I didn't understand what was happening. I told Uncle Dan that I was feeling weak and wanted to go home. He told me to relax and rest for a while, that I would feel better soon. At that point, I could hardly see clearly anymore. My body felt numb and weak. Before I knew it, everything went blank. When I opened my eyes again, it was already night, around 7 p.m. I was so shocked to find myself lying on Uncle Dan's bed. My head was spinning and I realized that something was terribly wrong. I quickly sat up, confused, and noticed that my clothes were not properly arranged. Uncle Dan was nearby, looking unsettled. When I asked him what had happened, he said I fainted and that he had only helped me so I could get fresh air. At that moment, I was too weak and too scared to argue. All I wanted was to go home. When I finally got home, my parents didn't even ask me where I had been. Not a single question. I stood there expecting to be scolded or at least questioned, but they both acted as if I was invisible. That moment broke something inside me. Even though I knew they weren't the most caring parents, I never imagined their concern for me was this little. I went straight to my room, changed my clothes, took my bait and lay on my bed, but my mind wouldn't stop racing. I kept replaying everything that had happened earlier. Then suddenly I felt a sharp pain in my lower body. I rushed to the bathroom to check myself. To my shock, I noticed something wasn't right. There was pain and I noticed things I couldn't explain. At that moment, my heart sank. I whispered to myself in tears, "Oh God, what has he done to me?" I cried so hard that my eyes hurt. I didn't know what to do or who to talk to, but eventually I decided to speak to my mother. That evening, I walked up to her while she was sitting outside. I greeted her softly, tears already forming in my eyes. "Mommy," I said weakly. She looked at me impatiently. "What is it? I'm busy. Speak quickly." "Mommy," I continued, "there's something I need to tell you. Something one of my teachers did to me." She frowned. "What do you mean? Speak up." "Mommy, Uncle Dan asked me to come to his house so he could explain an assignment to me. I didn't have any other intention. I just wanted to learn. But when I got there, things changed. He made me take a drink and after that, I don't remember much. When I woke up, something had happened to me." My mother's face changed, but not with concern, but with anger. She said, "So you went to a man's house at your age? Did you tell me before you went there? You expect him to look at you and do nothing? Her words pierced through me like a knife. "How can you put food before a goat and expect it not to eat?" she said harshly. "You got what you deserve, foolish girl. Don't disturb me with this nonsense." I stood there frozen. She turned away, refusing to even look at me again. Those words, I will never forget them. I went to her for comfort, and she tore my heart apart instead. I realized that night that I was completely alone in this world. From that day on, I stopped trying to tell anyone. Uncle Dan realized that nobody cared enough to protect me, and he continued to take advantage of that silence. He tormented me until I finally graduated from that school. That was my story. My experience growing up as a young girl in a home where both parents failed to care. The kind of parents I would never wish for anyone. I promised myself that I would never be like them. When I have my own children, I will give them love, care, and attention. I will be there, truly there, not as just a parent, but a protector. To anyone listening to my story, please think about your children. Are you really present in their lives? Do you really or truly listen to them? Do you fight for them when necessary? Don't be like my parents, please. Be the voice your child needs when the world tries to silence them. If I had turned out bitter or broken, nobody would have known why. People judge without understanding the pain behind the person's stories. Who we are today is often the product of what we experienced yesterday. So before you judge, try to understand. Love your children, be present in their lives, and always pray for them. Thank you so much for listening to my story, guys. If you learned something and drew strength from it, please subscribe to my channel. I'm a new creator and I will keep sharing more real life inspired stories to bring healing, awareness, and change. Thank you for watching to the end. See you in my next story. Bye.